Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 37 of the GrowCast Show. And today with me, I have a little bit of a new setting, but I have the founder of One Media Concept, Sebastian. How are you feeling today, my man?
Excellent. Excited to be in this podcast and all set, ready to go.
Very beautiful. And I know you've done a little bit of changes to the whole setup as well. How do you
Yes.
find this new look of your own podcast studio?
Oh, I'm loving it. Yeah, we have taken a lot of feedback, from all those that have come over here, and we have actually improved the setup so that it actually suits according to how they want it, in terms of their expectations for the podcast. So we are definitely a studio that listens, all right, and we want you to have the best experience as much as possible. That's all.
And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that as well. But before that, let me ask my favorite question, which I ask every guest, which is what does being better than normal mean to you?
Going beyond what is expected, okay, I would say if you were to put it very simply, under promise, but most of the time over deliver. So you actually give your client a very, very positive impression and expectations, of your future deliveries. Yeah. So being normal, being better than normal, I would say that's how you should.
I totally agree. And maybe with that leading into what makes you better than normal?
Well, first of all, we take feedback very, very seriously because we want to improve. Not only that, we really want to prioritize your experience above ours. All right. So as much as we want to talk to you about cost and so on and so forth, we do try our very best to actually give you what you are maybe getting from outside, So you can actually have it here being replicated and in a much more comfortable setting. So that's what sets us apart. Okay. We listen to you. All right. We make adjustment. And of course, the equipment that we use, we don't go for the cheaps. We go for the, more expensive ones. Yeah.
And what would you say is the cost of full setup that you have right now for this currently? What would you say is the full cost of this podcast?
Okay, if you were to include the space itself, on average you're looking probably close to about 50K. That's what you're gonna spend. Yeah, that's only on equipment and space alone, right? You haven't even calculate yet on the manpower costs as well as your rentals, your PUB, that kind of thing. Yeah, equipment alone is itself gonna kill you.
And tell me more. So, what would you say are the essential equipments that we're using right now? And give me a breakdown. What would you say would? Because I want people to know that the stuff that you're using is the real deal.
All right. Okay, as you can see, in terms of the LED lights, there's one behind you. We prefer to use the flat panels because of the profile is actually much more smaller, But in terms of the output, it's just as good or if not even better because it's actually using the latest technology. And in terms of the cost, easily this thing can cost you it will set you off about $1,000. So imagine if we have 2 or 3 of them, that's like $3,000 in already. All right. Then on top of that, of course, we use like the Rodecaster Pro 2. All right. We didn't use the Pro 1. We used the Rode 2. That's almost about $1,000 as well. You have the mic. For us, we go for the 80-20-20. All right. I didn't go for the Shure SM7B, which a lot of people say is good. But then the thing is that one, you need a lot more equipment. But frankly speaking, it's like if you think that this mic sounds good, yeah, Or let me put it this way: if you think Shure sounds good, wait till how I adjust it for you. You'll know that this one sounds good as well, or even better. Yeah. So these are just some of the equipment. Then, of course, in terms of the space, like you can shout, like hello. You don't hear echo, right? We sound treated. All right. So all this comes at a cost, and in the future, aside from what you are seeing, the screen over there, we call them the comfort monitors. All right, eventually there will be another monitor somewhere here also. It's like in case, let's say you have some script that you want to read, we can actually also include that in. Yeah. So all these are in summary the setup that you are actually looking at and how much the cost is.
Very nice. And I would say easily, if I don't include the rental of stuff like that, just the equipment alone, what would you say would be total cost of just the equipment?
With the cablings and everything, probably 25, 30K, something along that line. Yeah, because don't forget that we still have the camera to calculate, which I haven't even mentioned about that. Yes. So all the cablings itself, the cameras, the mixer, all right, you have the lights, you have the sound treatments, and of course you have the mic stand, the furniture and everything. Yeah, so it will easily hit you around 25K minimum.
Very nice. I mean, I love the full setup, and I'm hoping I can do more and more video as well. But maybe I want to find out from you, Sebastian, what is your origin story as an entrepreneur?
as an entrepreneur, okay, I like to create beautiful stuff, and my foray into the creative media front is I started off as a photographer, all right. That is basically stills, right? So then I actually move on into motion pictures, which is stills in motion, right? And so after a while, because of the things that we do, our ethos is actually do it with excellence, all right? And we have never really, taken a shortcut from there. So our clients appreciate that, and they started to ask us to, for other kind of services. So eventually we start to add in, from photography to videography. Then eventually we started to do audio, and now what you're seeing now is basically a podcast. So for us, our technical fundamentals are very, very strong. And that actually sets us apart, because aside from just being good at what we do, okay, what we are actually doing now is we are also doing events management, all right? Having a good events manager that is also well versed in the technical aspect of things, how they run, is also important, because you don't want to get someone that, okay, will tell you that, okay, this is what you can do, but at the end of the day, a lot screw up, and then it's too late, right? Yeah. So this is what we do. I mean, put it, for example, it's like, how do you like yourself? How do you like the sound of your voice now, on your headphones?
I mean, I love it. That's the reason why I'm purposely having my own earphones, because I don't get too much of a chance to listen to myself unless once the production is done. But that's why, I love the whole setup and stuff here as well. And maybe if I could ask the best, what is the number one learning lesson in business so far?
Number one, be open-minded, be humble, yes, and be teachable, I would say, all right, and be fluid. It's just like Bruce Lee says, right? Be like water, right? If you are in a vase, then you just go in the shape of the vase. So the dynamics of the business world has been changing a lot. And a lot of times what I notice is that businesses fail is because they fail to actually either stay ahead, or they fail to evolve, if I were to put it simply, right? So having this mindset that, hey, you may be the best of what you do, but at the end of the day, it is the clients that pays the bill. All right, so you got to listen, you got to observe, and then you got to basically evolve accordingly, adjust accordingly, and then, of course, you don't kill yourself, right? But you give it your best, and from there, I believe the client would appreciate that, because they see that you're actually putting in a lot of effort, and they know how much the equipment will cost. Everybody have access to the internet, right? So you cannot BS them one. So if I were to use a cheap likes here and there, you'll know eventually. Yeah. So be truthful. Yes, that's also another point. Yeah, that's about it.
Let's talk a little bit about the One Media How did you come up name One Media Concept?
Okay, when I was thinking for a company name, I always start with the end in mind, the objective. So I do not want to do so-called photography forever or videography forever, because when I'm putting all the talents, all my expertise on a piece of paper, I could actually see for myself that, yes, I'm very good fundamentally in the photography, videography, all this and that, sound and everything. But I actually realized one thing that I'm even better at, which is the coordination part. I know how to piece together the jigsaw, right? So I can call myself One Media Photography, all right? Of course, I use the numeral 1 is because it's easily searchable on the internet, all right? So I want someone to be able to identify my company, with the sound of it. Okay, they know, okay, this is what you do. So that's why media comes in. Concepts, why do I even mention concepts? Because, my end goal is I want to be an events manager. So I conceptualize everything for you. From the basic, let's say even photography or videography, I can conceptualize the shoot for you, storyboard it, script it for you according to how you want it to be, all right, and direct it accordingly. And eventually, when we go on to the big ticket items like the events, I can actually piece everything together for you. Henceforth, One Media Concept.
And what are some of the current services One Media Concept specializes in?
Okay, we are definitely number one in events management. All right, we focus more on the dinner and dance, town hall, fiesta, the kind of things. Though we can do MICE event, but we try not to do that often for the main reason that it takes up a lot of time. Yeah, so we do a lot of those kind of things. But in the studio itself, now we are actually focusing a lot more on the podcast, more on renting the space for content creators, digital marketeers. It's like, just like how you asked me, what's the cost? Right. So if you think that you want to start a business in that area, you need to think about how much cost that you're going to spend. But on top of that, aside from the initial cost that you have to spend, what is the continuous cost that you'll be actually spending, which is basically your rental and your manpower cost. There's so much of cost involved. So therefore, we created this space, and we actually come up with a very, very affordable package. And from there, we open it up to all the content creators. It's like, hey, why don't you just come and use our space? Tell us when you're going to do your podcast, or when you want to do your photo shoot even, because this whole space not only is available for podcasts, but also for photo shoots, right? You can do portraiture shots, head shots, this kind of things. Just let us know. And who does it best than someone who is actually in the industry, right? And someone that you can trust, So this is what we do. We want to create a safe haven, a safe space for content creators, so that when they come in, that, we are not here to come and steal your technology. It's like, honestly speaking, I think my knowledge is so much better. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give yourself if you go back in time,
Start early. Yeah, that's my advice. Start early, and do your homework. Yeah, get a mentor. I would definitely advise that. Yeah.
And maybe if I could ask you, what motivates you come to work every day? What's your motivation?
Well, one of my primary motivation is that, as I've told people, I like gadgets. So I'm a real gadget freak per se. And this entire studio is sort of like my mini man cave. Yeah, so you can see all the lights, And sometimes I could be actually watching Netflix on the other room, all right, without a sound system in place. So that motivates me a lot. But the whole idea is that it's very conducive, not only for me to just do business, but also for me to actually work and even rest. So that's what motivates me. I mean, what I really believe is that money should never be the motivator. But if you are very, very passionate about what you do and you do it well, all right, eventually there'll be people who recognizes it and money will come. Yeah. I guess the only potential setback that you can set up for yourself for failure is that when you focus too much on money. I mean, granted, yes, it is very, very important because you need to watch your costs when you run a business, right? And it's actually a drain in your brain if you were to come to the studio and then start to think about, oh my goodness, there's so much cost I need to pay and maintain, right? But at the end of the day, when I tell myself, it's like, hey, I got people like you, who love the setup, and to me, it's like, that's really, I put a smile on my face already. Then I can tell myself, I did a job.
Of course. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of positive feedback that get as well. And I know you've been getting lots of positive feedback from the BNI community. Maybe I want to talk a little bit about that. How has BNI positively impacted your business?
Okay, BNI is a very, very structured way of doing networking. So how it has positively impacted my business is in a sense that, of course, first of all, okay, I always like to joke, the gospel of BNI, all right? It's just like the gospel, whenever human beings are involved, things get to be tainted, So BNI have a very, very good system if you really deep dive into it. And what it does is actually, it allows you to network objectively, with intentions, so that your business can flow from there. So a lot of times when we enter a networking scene, it is really more just about exchanging name cards. What do you do? That's about it. But how do you say it to actually attract the other party, or get the other party interested in your business? That's another way. And one thing I like about BNI is it provides training to allow you to actually sharpen your skills in networking, because a lot of people think that it's so easy, like I just talk to you, come up with creative words and everything. But actually, networking is beyond that. To get someone interested in you without them feeling defensive, or on the offense, is actually a skill. And BNI allows for that platform, and the fact that we meet every week actually also allow us to give ourselves the practice sessions, right? It's like if you're my group or chapter member, I can practice on you or on my 30 seconds, so that if it works on you, all right, or maybe let's say it doesn't even work on you, right, I can still sharpen it to the point whereby when I meet my actual client outside, I know what I'm talking about in the shortest time possible. Yeah. So that's what I like about BNI. Structure, progressive training, all right, and a safe environment for you to actually network and do your business.
Very nice. I love training element.
Yeah.
And why did you set up own video podcast studio?
Well, because I've observed, I do check out basically other spaces as well. And even for someone who have been there, right? I've rented studios before. And what I find is that a lot of times you're very alone. Even when you rent the studio, you feel very, very alone. The owners, or the studio owners, the operators themselves, they don't really engage with you. Partly because, they don't really do what you do on a day-to-day basis. They are doing what they are doing, podcast, which is very, very similar, but they can't really empathize with you. And that's what I want. I want to create a space whereby, even for, let's say, a photographer, you may feel that, oh my goodness, if I come to this space, will he steal my business or something like that? No, that's far from that. I want them to feel safe that, hey, it's because I've been where you are, and that's why I'm keeping the rates very, very affordable for you to actually run your business. All right. And if you want to learn from me how that I can reach a point where I can set up all this thing by myself, I'm more than willing to share, because I know there can only be one Sebastian, right? My knowledge is there to share, but while you're learning from me, I'm progressively learning as well. So that's why I created this space. I call it more like a safe space, for people to come and gather, talk about it, do their business, all right? And then after that, go home happy. And yeah, once they're happy, they want to come back again. Yep.
Makes sense. I mean, we all know that podcasting in Singapore, it's a while. Two time it is big, right? Why do you feel that business should consider doing video podcasting, prove personal brand?
The traditional mean of advertising can be quite costly. And aside from cost itself, you are actually spending a lot of time and effort. All right. So what better way is actually to do podcasts, put it up on the so-called metaverse, right? And that thing is running 24/7. You can't run 24/7, right? So if you know how to do your business objectively, you can continue to go and source for new streams of income, while the current stream is actually doing a passive way of getting you revenues. So to me, I think podcast is very important. And also I have business coaches that actually come and talk to me and ask me for advice, They are like telling me, Seb, your product is quite tangible per se. Ours is not really that tangible. It's very hard. Then I said, then you should consider doing a podcast, because what happens is like when you are doing a podcast like this, right? It doesn't really feel like you're sort of like being interviewed, There is really no that wall thing, where you feel very uncomfortable. So you can share whatever that you want, all right? Of course, the likes are there, But it put you in a safe space whereby you're very, very comfortable talking about your business. And that actually allows you to share greater insights into your expertise. And when the viewer is looking at it, they'll tell themselves, hey, I'm very interested to find out more about this guy. Think, for example, if you are emotional healing coach, seriously, would they even be watching such kind of videos in the daylight? No, it's usually in the night where they're feeling lonely. They're feeling like, shit, what's going on with my life? Henceforth, they'll actually turn on to YouTube, and then just imagine if they found out about yours, and then it's just a very casual conversation. They find that you are very approachable. Then they want to talk to you. So I think for businesses going forward, this is one way to actually create visibility for yourself. But at the same time, you are indirectly creating credibility as well too, because they now can actually see you and feel you, from your words, rather than you just talk, hello, I'm Sebastian, blah, blah, that kind of thing. It feels so fake. Yeah.
How do you feel that video podcast actually helps business owners to get actual money inside their business?
Well, video podcast is basically based on eyeball, right? So if you look at the trend now, the amount of time people spend on screen is so much more higher. I think it's 3 seconds or something like that, right? So having a video podcast is sort of like a representative that actually, helps you promote your business continuously. So like I mentioned just now, you can't stay on for 24/7, but your video podcast can. And not only that, imagine you alone, how many people can you speak to? You need to organize a seminar to speak to 30 people, but your video podcast can easily be reached to millions, in a single click. That's how effective a video podcast can be.
What exactly are the rates to rent your video podcast studio?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the promo price. Just even let's say after the promo price, is easily what we are offering now is on the a la carte is 250. Okay, 250. Basically, what you get is 2 hours block. All right. On top of that, you get one live cut. Okay. So what live cut basically means is that after you finish the podcast like this, within a few minutes, I'll give you the recording already, which is already cut for you, so that you can actually use it. Pass it on to your editor, put in the motion graphics, all the subtitles and everything, whatever you want to put the music. All right. It saves you so much time. All right. So that's basically it. And in terms of, let's say you like the whole setup and you feel that it actually can complement your business, right? You might want to consider a term. So we do have a term, basically is $1,000, okay, and you get 5 slots of 2 hours block, all right, and you can just in that 2 hours you can do whatever you want. You can plan, and if you think about it, it's so much more affordable compared to if you go a la carte. But both has its advantages depending on your business model, and this is how we actually price it now.
Which is more better in your opinion? Is long form video content better or is short form video content better?
I would say each has its own place, but if you were to ask me to really drill it down, I think short form. Yeah, well, for the same reason that people's attention span are getting shorter, right? Yeah. Long form is when they really have time, like deep in the night, when they want to find out about really things. Yeah, that allows you even as a podcaster to express more. So yeah, if you really want to so-called have a very quick impact, yeah, those are the short reels. Yeah.
But how do you feel video podcasting helps a person's personal brand?
Oh, I was just sharing with someone just now. Basically, when you do this kind of podcasting, all right, you are putting yourself in front of the camera. And many times we suck, we really suck at talking, or we are not even fluent, we stumble on our words. So therefore, you have to think about it. If let's say you were to now face the client, are you going to stumble? Are you going to be bullshitting your way through, trying to think of the catchphrase and everything, the catchy ones, so that they can understand. But having a podcast, if you do it regularly, it actually trains you, to be a better presenter. And being a good presenter, you are able to deliver your message across much more clearly and more concisely, succinctly, all right? And it gets the jobs done at the shortest possible time without the person feeling it's like, oh my goodness, can you, right? Yeah.
That's one thing which I feel with video podcasting is very different compared to looking straight into the camera and talking into the camera. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a good point there, I mean, many people are not actors, so they do get very, very cautious, and very, what do you call it, self-conscious when they feel that they are in front of the lens, all right? So having this kind of setting actually allows them to put themselves more at ease, therefore greater information flow. And of course, having said that, like wearing this kind of headsets, the good headsets, where you can hear your beautiful voice, isn't it, while you're talking. So, well, you can just enjoy yourself, enjoy your own voice, right, while you're sharing the words of wisdom. Yeah.
How important is content in today's business world?
Because we are flooded with a lot of information, and the only way that one can actually stand above the crowd is when you have information that is relevant to people. So if you are a subject matter expert, right, and you create contents that is relevant, right, it actually allows people to understand you better. Henceforth, indirectly or directly, it will actually translate into more business for you. So if you don't have content, people don't know you, all right, and people don't know how good you are. Right. And like what they say, right? All these are basically you are doing based on your own effort. You're recording, you're spending the time and you're willing to share your knowledge. So like they say, people won't know how much, or people are not interested in how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So creating content also shows that you care, right? Of course you care for your business, but you care enough to actually spend time and do all this content, which is not easy. Yeah.
Which one would you say is the most important from the create, consume and convert cycle of content?
In terms of how it basically results into P&L, your P&L, to me probably is the consumption. If there's nobody consuming it, then that's it. Right? Yeah. So if you were to, ask me about the three, I'll probably consuming part.
So what advice would you have for a business owner who says that they are camera shy?
when they are camera shy, well, if I were to put it in short, don't think too much, all right? Just go with the flow. But I would say speak to the person that is you're going to do the so-called interview or podcast with and feel the vibes, right? Some people can really put you at ease. So if you are really camera shy, all right, and you know that you're going to stiffen up, that kind of thing, talk to someone, right, who can really put you at ease, right? And then you become the best of yourself. Yeah. So yeah, that's all.
So if anybody wants to find out more about Sebastian, about One Media Concept, where should they go and how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, they can definitely WhatsApp us. We are available most of the time. WhatsApp number is 8797-6263. Or if you prefer email, you can email us at hello@onemedia, one as in the numeral one, okay, mediaconcept.com. All right. Of course, you can go to our social media page like Instagram and everything to check it out. But usually those are very indirect. So if you want the quickest way to actually get to us, right, you call us or WhatsApp us, right? But the best is you can even come to our studio, but of course do a booking first. Otherwise, we'll be swamped. Yeah, our studio address is 158 at Kallang Way, Unit 0105A. Okay, and postcode in case you want it, 349245. That's it.
Very nice. I'm going to make sure that all the details are in the description as well. And Sebastian, any last words or any questions that I should have asked, but then maybe I missed out? Any last words on your end on GrowCast Show episode 37?
So far, no, I think you have been pretty well in terms of the coverage. Yeah, it's already like really piqued my brains already.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. It was very useful. It was very helpful. Thank you so much, Sebastian. And that was episode 37 of the GrowCast Show. I have the founder of One Media Concept, Sebastian. And if you want to do your own video podcast, you know who to look for. You know where to find him. The details are all in the. See you all real soon for the next episode. Cheers. Take care and bye-bye.